Welcome to Laramie, Wyoming, inside the Arena-Auditorium. Tonight we have Tuesday Night Hoops on the Mountain West Network as the Wyoming Cowboys are back at home playing host to the Boise State Broncos. Let's take a look at the conference standings entering tonight. Both the Pokes and the Broncos currently sitting at 2-5. Welcome into the broadcast, everyone. Alongside Steve Gosar, I'm Ryan Mix. Steve, Wyoming will be without three key players tonight. Boise State, though, healthy and hungry, coming off their first win of the month Friday against Colorado State.
Yeah, and both of these teams have lost 4 out of the last 5 games, really looking to try to get a little momentum before they head into the second half of the conference season.
Absolutely. And Steve, who's our player to watch for the Broncos tonight?
Well, that's Drew Fielder, and I tell you, 6'11", this is a very talented big man. Steps out, shoots the 3. He can put it on the deck, finishes around the rim. He is a mismatch, and he is a nightmare for the Cowboys tonight if they can't find him out of the ball screens.
And how about for the Cowboys?
It's Leland Walker. They've got too many, points sitting on the bench tonight. He's really going to have to step up. And if there's one thing that's been a knock against him, maybe being a little bit too unselfish, he's going to have to be really focused on scoring the ball tonight.
And what about our keys to the game for both spots tonight?
Yeah. Well, I think the big key for Boise is to take care of the ball. In the games that they've lost in conference, they've had a little bit higher turnovers. And if they can take care of the ball, that means just more shots. And for the Cowboys, somebody's going to have to step up. It's the next man up. Somebody's going to have to fill those shoes, with Nas out of the game, with Belich out of the game and Harris out of the game. That's over 23.5 points of scoring that's missing for the Cowboys.
It's going to be all hands on deck for the Cowboys, and Leon Rice certainly looking to get a big road win tonight for the Broncos. 2-time Mountain West Coach of the Year, reached the NCAA tournament 5 times in Boise, and Wyoming led by head coach Sundance Wicks in his second season, 23-27 overall. Both of these squads entering tonight 2-5 in the conference, looking to climb the standings as we are already almost at the halfway point of the Mountain West Conference season. And we're going to see some different starting lineups tonight. And we take a look at the series history. Steve, it's really been dominated by Boise State, especially in recent history. Wyoming's last win against the Broncos came in February 2022, but Boise State has won 6 in a row.
Boy, since Coach Rice has been there, I tell you, he has really put his name on the Mountain West basketball. He has been, Boise State has been very, consistently at the top with San Diego State, and they've had really good ball clubs, and that's where that series history has been stretched in Boise State's favor.
Yeah, Coach Rice, 16th season, he's led the Broncos to 20-plus wins, 12 of 15 seasons. So right now, 10-8. This is a little bit of an abnormality for the Broncos. 2-5 in conference play. They're used to finishing in the top 4 in the Mountain West. Last year, of course, Boise State lost to Colorado State in the conference championship game. A great program and a team that has had a lot of success on the road over the last 5 years, 24-16 in conference road games. We're ready to roll here in the AA.
We're talking with Coach Rice before the game. He talked about, 4 of the last 5, but what a stretch they've had with Grand Canyon, San Diego State, Utah State, and Nevada. And I tell you, there's no off night in the Mountain West. I don't care where you go in this league. They're dangerous teams and good level of basketball.
It's a very deep league as Boise State knocks it out of bounds. Andrews got his hand in there. Possession stays with Wyoming. 11 on the shot clock. Bennett with it. Driving baseline. Loses the handle. Gets it off to Walker. 4 on the shot clock, and he's fouled by Andrews.
That was a bad foul by Andrews. I tell you, late in the shot clock, really, the Cowboys didn't have anything going. Smart play by Leland Walker, though. Ripped through. He had his hand out, got the foul. They get another 20 seconds on that shot clock.
So Sadi and Rojas getting the start for Wyoming tonight. Just the second start of the year for each player. Bennett tries a corner 3, in and out. Tipped to the Broncos. Take a look at the starting five for Boise State, a very experienced team, and 4 out of these 5 starters averaging in double figures.
So Ryan, the Cowboys come out in the zone. I tell you, not a real surprise for me, actually, as thin as they are on the perimeter, but a huge block by Gores.
Sadi got his hand in there. Freshman making an impact early. Walker off the glass, too strong. And Andrews will push it for Boise State. We'll see how Wyoming tries to match up against Fielder. And his shot off the mark. Still looking for our first bucket of the game. So take a look at the starting 5 for the Pokes tonight. Cowboys have had a lot of different starting lineups this year, still trying to kind of find that right mix. Only 2 players returned from last year's squad, Belich and Magassa. 3 from the wing, off the mark. Gores fights for the rebound, gets it over to Walker, and draws the foul.
Great hustle by Gavin Gores. Go up top to tip that ball out and then chase it down before it went out of bounds and get the Pokes another opportunity to score.
Both Coach Rice and Coach Wicks will bring a lot of energy off the bench tonight. Give and go to Gores, and he'll go the line.
Gavin's really got to step up. I think that role is going to be there as they try to contain, Bennett and Walker and Rojas on the perimeter. I think that role is going to be there tonight. He's got to go up, finish through that contact, and if he doesn't get the bucket, he's got to finish him at the foul line tonight.
Freshman from Wisconsin gets the Pokes on the board. He's played well recently, 9.2 points per game. About 5.5 rebounds per game his last 4 games, and this is his 3rd consecutive start. Last home game against San Diego State did not go Wyoming's way, but Gores had a nice game, 12 points, 8 rebounds in that contest.
Ryan, it's about this time where you start to see the freshmen start to settle in, but the game is so physical, it's so fast, it's so big, and I tell you, we've seen his production go up as the years gotten on. I think he's just more comfortable out there.
Buchanan with it, working on Gores. Good defense from the Pokes so far. Good hands by Gores, steals it away. Rojas working on knee. Tough shot, good defense from Fielder, and Boise State still looking for their first field goal, and knee gets it from behind the arc.
They didn't have they haven't found a solution for that zone just yet, but in transition, a wide open 3, they can knock those down in bunches.
Knee just a 30% three-point shooter on the year. Gets Boise State on the board. Bennett turns around, looks at Rojas. Good ball fake. Kicks it out to Bennett from the wing, off the mark. And Buchanan gets the board. Nee tries a deep shot again. Good hustle to get his own rebound.
That's one thing the Cowboys cannot do. They cannot give the Broncos extra opportunities to score. Offensive rebounds could be very pivotal in this ball game.
5 on the shot clock for Boise State. Buchanan works inside. Can't finish. Nee fights for the rebound. Goes to Bennett. And Walker 1-on-2. Can't finish. Gores does. Oh, baby.
Boy, that's why you run the court. There's no guarantee that the guard's always going to finish that. Gores with some great effort cleaning up the missed shot.
Excellent hustle from the freshman. Coach Wicks will love to see that. And Boise State still trying to pick apart this zone. That'll be out of bounds to Wyoming.
Well, and
little bit of a slow start offensively, but Gores races down the court, sends it in, gives the Pokes some energy. College basketball on the Mountain West Network is presented by your Rocky Mountain Ford dealers, built for tough, and by Union Wireless. Real people, always. A little bit of a slow start from both squads offensively. Boise State 1 of 6, Wyoming 1 of 7. But Gavin Gores with an exclamation point heading into the media timeout, and hopefully a jolt of energy for the Pokes.
Absolutely, and that play was set up by Caden Bennett, just hustling down and ripping that ball away from the Boise State player, and got it out to Leland. Leland got it up the court quickly, but Gavin Gores finished it up with a nice finish on that missed shot.
Over 20 dunks this year for the freshman. Been a great instant contributor for the Cowboys from Wisconsin. Marion Dennis checks in for Wyoming. This is Bennett with it. Walker working on the wing. Off to Saxon. Spin move in the lane, off the mark. Nato with a nice board.
One of the things that the zone does, it's given, Boise a little bit of fits right now because they're taking shots that typically that's not how they score the ball. There's a lot of high posts, and shots or runners from the high post. That's not really what they do, but the Cowboys have got to find a way to rebound out of this zone.
There's one of them. Dennis, 1-on-2, draws the contact. He'll go the line.
Smart play by Bennett. He had a step on him. Defender was given some ground. He just got that contact, made sure he got the foul, and go to the line.
Take a look at the hustle, just about coast to coast for Dennis.
Well, that's one thing, these Cowboy guards do really well. They seek contact, and you can't avoid contact because you're not going to get the bucket and you're not going to get the foul. But if you seek contact, you'll at least get the foul and maybe the bucket on top of it. Now, he's got to do a much better job. He's a much better shooter. He's got to settle in at that line, and he's got to knock down these free throws.
86% foul shooter entering tonight. It's been a great spark off the bench, but also started about half the games for Wyoming this year. Comes up empty at the charity stripe that time. With Nosmeyer out, second leading scorer on the team, Dennis, one of those guys who's really going to have to step up tonight for Wyoming.
This zone is actually really good because the Cowboys are really mobile. They've got a lot of perimeter, guys that can really cover the perimeter well.
Gores checks back in for Saxon. Carmichael with it. 6 on the shot clock for Boise State. Nato with 3. A deep 3 off left. Rebound to Rojas. Dennis quickly down the court and lays it in.
Oh, man, he covered some ground on that step through. Beautiful play by Dennis at full speed. Just kind of changed directions, changed speeds, and finished it on the other side of the rim.
Aarons from the corner, off the mark. Rebound to Bennett. Bennett, 1-on-2 downhill. Wants a foul, doesn't get it, and it will go to Boise State.
Watch this play, Ryan. I tell you, up the court quickly. The Cowboys are getting some great looks in transition, and he just really presses hard, steps through, and crosses to the other side of the rim for the finish.
Steve, don't you feel like, Cowboys I'm sure Coach Wicks would really like to take more advantage of this slow start for Boise State. Just one field goal in almost 7 minutes.
Yeah, true. But, you know, you got to realize you got a bunch of your scoring that's sitting on the bench over there that, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time for this new lineup and to, you know, guys step up and take those shots. And taking shots is one thing. Knocking them down is a whole nother thing.
Another turnover there for the Broncos. Wyoming, excellent start defensively.
I think there's matchups here where, you know, the Cowboys may overthink it. Like right here, it's really what I was going for is just a straight line drive. I don't think that, you know, Meadows can stay in front of Rojas off the dribble. And I think you don't need a ball screen. You don't need any of this action. Just give him the ball and let him drive him. And I think that's what opened up that lob for a dunk.
Got to be careful no matter where he is on the court. Gores' athleticism allows him to make plays like that. Fielder with a nice pump fake on Gores. Draws the contact on the floor, though, I believe.
You can see Rojas with that straight line drive attracts that help and then just lofts it up to Gores to finish. It's good basketball right there. On the other end, I tell you, Gores, you got to jump second. You got to realize Fielder's shooting a 15-footer over a 6'10 athletic player in yourself. Jump second. Just contest that shot. Don't let him get you in the air and then take it to the rim and get an and one.
Just the first team foul on Wyoming. They called it on Dennis.
Ryan, that's going to be a big key for the Cowboys with a much shorter, you know what, lineup. As far as players are concerned, you know, the Cowboys can't get in foul trouble. They've had games this year where they've gotten foul trouble, where Bennett's been on the bench and Walker's been on the bench. They can't afford that tonight. Those guys have to play a lot of minutes.
Walker still looking for his first points. Leading scorer on this Cowboys squad.
Carmichael can't stay in front of Bennett just with a straight drive.
5 on the clock. Rojas, deep three, too strong. Nice rebound by Bennett and draws the contact. That'll be the 5th team foul on Boise State. Saxon checks in for Harako for Wyoming.
Cowboys 0 for 4 from the three-point line tonight. They're going to have to knock down a few of those. I tell you, I've seen games where they started out really hot and then it just went cold after that. So, you know, being 0 for 4 to start the game is not too concerning, but they got to start, you know, knocking some down just so that they get Boise to guard more on the perimeter.
Great defense there by Fielder, blocking Gores' shot. Andrews will reset for Boise State after some time on the bench. Andrews, the transfer from UCLA, gives it off to Fielder. Top of the key, no good. Rebound to Bennett.
And I tell you, Fielder's got to do more out of the high post with that ball. He's a much better player. He's not really looking to score, pull through, and get to the rim or just knock down that 15-footer. It's there for him if he wants to take it.
Rojas working on Meadow, has to give it off to Walker. Walker steps, pulls back. Nice job by Bennett to get his own rebound. Walker from 3, too short. Bennett, another offensive rebound. Great hustle from Bennett.
For his size, he's the best rebounding, you know, player in the conference, guaranteed. I tell you, he goes into with all the bigs and he finds a way to come down with balls that he shouldn't get.
4 on the shot clock. Bennett gonna have to force one up, blocked by Andrews, and Boise State can run. 1-on-1 hoop and the harm for Meadow. We will take a quick media timeout, tied at 8 here in the AA. We'll be back on the Mountain West Network. Back inside the Arena-Auditorium, tied at 8 here on the Mountain West Network, and this could be the final trip to Laramie for Boise State, at least in the immediate future, as Boise State will be exiting the Mountain West, going to the new Pac-12. And for head coach Leon Rice, it's been an incredible stint for him at Boise State in his 16th season, over 300 career wins, by far the most wins in program history. And he is one of 9 active coaches in Division I to notch 300 wins with just one team. You see how he stacks up all time in the Mountain West. And Steve, just one of those guys who's brought consistency to this program, 20-plus wins, 12 out of 15 seasons.
Well, Boise State was a football school before Coach Rice got there. He really put them on the map, and in the Mountain West, you know, created a really competitive program, and that's the reason why now you look at both of those programs are doing well, but he's the reason why their basketball program has done so well in the Mountain West. Ever since he's got there, he's been putting really talented, consistently playing good teams on the court.
Boise State 10-8 entering this game, but both these squads both in the top 100 in the net. And a quick stoppage here. And Boise State, it's just uncharacteristic for them to get off to this start, just because each of the last 5 years they've finished 4th or better in the Mountain West.
There's a lot of parity in the Mountain West this year, though. You know, I feel like there's, you know, maybe San Diego State, maybe Utah State is a little bit better, maybe, you know, Grand Canyon, but I think there's a whole bunch of teams that can beat each other on any given night. A little hot shooting, and I think anybody can go down and lose a ball game to anybody in the Mountain West.
Walker gets the floater, his first bucket of the night. Both teams just shooting 25%. Wyoming is tightened up on defense to start this game as they create another steal. Last time the Pokes were at home, it was a double-digit loss to San Diego State. Coach Wicks called his team out a little bit in the post-game presser, and for the first time back at home since those comments, they've responded well. Dennis driving through traffic, blocks out to Walker. He's going to have to put it up and beats the horn.
Oh, great finish by Walker. Took that contact, still just laid it up nice and soft over the defender. Boy, Cowboys are finding opportunities out of those second chances, those offensive rebounds and kickouts and loose balls. It seems like all the 50-50 balls the Cowboys are running down.
Fielder to Buchanan. Buchanan looking for his first points and gets them right there.
He's been quiet all night long. Finally got a good touchdown deep and went to work. And I tell you, that's what he can do. He's very skilled down low there. You know, Sadi's got to do a better job before the pass gets there, getting him out further away from the basket.
Buchanan last year, 6th man of the year in the conference, and steals it away. Pass was not tall enough, and Andrews can't finish. Fight for the rebound goes to Dennis. Dennis will pull out. Just had 1-on-2. Pretty physical game so far here at the AA. Walker, another mid-range J, knocks it down.
Boy, the floater has been there tonight for him. That's 3 for 3, and I tell you, very, very big for the Cowboys to see Leland Walker really looking to score that ball and finding the bottom of the net with his shots.
Wyoming doubles knee on the sideline, but it will stay with Boise State as it goes out of bounds. A little bit of a line change for both teams as Walker, 3 straight field goals for Wyoming.
I just don't feel like Boise's been able to find their offensive flow. 12 minutes into this ball game, that zone has really kept them from really settling in offensively. I think, different guys are finding the ball in their hands, and it's forcing them to shoot the ball and look to score as opposed to their normal players.
Aarons with a strong finish gets the bucket. Jericho with it at the top of the key. Now this is Rojas. 10 on the shot clock. Comes off the screen from Magassa. Off to Jericho. Drives. Kicks it out to Dennis. Back to Jericho. Just gets it off in time. Nope, they say shot clock violation.
That's the one, Jericho, and I know he's kicking himself right now on this, but Dennis has gotten that penetration kick. You got to let it fly from the corner.
We'll take a quick timeout and be right back on the Mountain West Network. Leland Walker leading scorer for the Pokes entering tonight. And so far in this game, 14.4 points per game, top 10 in the conference. And Steve, he's really done a nice job attacking the paint.
Oh, he's been finding the gaps in the defense and finding where he can get his shots. I think so many times, in basketball nowadays, it's either, get all the way to the rim or just shoot the three. And I tell you, so many times that mid-range shot is forgotten. Got to be able to score at all three different levels, and he's finding that gap in that mid-range.
And Walker has scored 20-plus 3 times this season. They might need that tonight for the Pokes to prevail. We'll see, as Wyoming obviously tremendous start defensively so far and kind of shaping up to be a low-scoring game. Knee trying to get it down low, and a foul is called as Parolin was working for position.
And Ryan, that was okay for a few of the Cowboys because Abu was just pinned down inside. If that ball got through, that was an easy basket for the Broncos.
Carmichael with it for Boise State. Parolin in the corner to Aarons. Back to Parolin, lays it off the glass and in.
Parolin's doing a great job sealing inside and getting the defender on his back and not letting him get back in front.
Parolin played 4 years at Lehigh, redshirted last year. So a lot of experience to bring to Boise State, and Broncos created a turnover there on defense.
Yeah, I don't think Rojas knew that ball was tipped, and it was. He didn't have to do that flying leap save. And
Knee splits the zone, and Parolin with another layup.
He's been key inside. I tell you, pinning down Sadi down low there, and Sadi's got to be a little bit quicker, to get around him because that pass is coming so quick from the high-low.
6-0 run for Boise State. 3 is their largest lead of the game. Gorge gets doubled and a jump ball. Great defense from Boise State as they will have the possession arrow turn over to them.
Yeah, right on that pass, Keene was able to reach on over there and tie that ball up before Gavin could get his hands on it.
Aarons to Parolin. Working on Sadi. Now Carmichael.
Great move by Coach Wicks here, going to man. That zone was getting broke down a little bit and went back to man, and it took a little bit for the Broncos to figure out, find a shot in that against that defense.
Another easy bucket, though, for Boise State to extend their run to 8-0. Broncos now shooting 44% on the evening and create another turnover.
I don't know about that one right there. It looked like he handed that ball off and didn't move. Right there, Gavin's out there a little bit too far, standing straight up. He gave a straight line, attack, to the rim, and that's, you got to be squared up just a little bit more. That's where the Cowboys give up so much size right here. You know what? And this, without Nas and without Harris and without Belich, give up a lot of size on the perimeter.
Good job by Saxon to fight for that board. Walker gives it to Saxon, hands it off to Sadi, loses control of it, and Aaron's running with it for Boise State. But great job by Saxon to draw the foul.
Oh, I tell you, great preparation, got in front, and Aaron's just a little bit out of control right there. Just, Saxon with a real smart defensive play to get a turnover. On the other side of things, I really thought Saxon should have put it up on the rim. When you get it that close, one more interior pass may not be exactly what you're looking for. And Sadi, I think, was looking to go to get the offensive rebound if he missed it.
Oaks looking to end a scoring drought of 3.5 minutes. Walker to an open Dennis. Corner three off the mark. Rebound to Nato. Throws it up ahead, and Fielder with the flush.
Cowboys gave up an easy one there, just not getting back. Fielder just snuck out behind him.
10-0 run, Boise State. Wyoming looking to put an end to that. Saxon off the mark. Rebound to Aarons. Carmichael tries a quick three. That's good. 13-0 run, Broncos, and Coach Wicks wants a timeout.
I tell you, that's a good timeout by Coach Wicks. He needed it to try to stop this run.
Broncos, a little bit of a slow start, but coming out hot. Boise up 10. Well, the Broncos are rumbling on offense. 13-0 run for Boise State. A lot of this coming in the paint and in transition. Broncos outscoring the Pokes 11-2 on fast break. And Boise State starting to find their groove, Steve.
Yeah, they're starting to settle in. I tell you, this is a team that's really steady scoring. And you knew they were going to be able to find, their flow at some point in time. It took them a little bit longer. I think that zone got them out of their rhythm and where they typically get shots. But once they found that, Parolin did a great job sealing inside, it started to break down that zone with some real high percentage shots, great interior passing. Cowboys went back to man, and now they're kind of just settling in. They kind of feel like a lot more confidence offensively, and the shots are falling for them.
A lot of the scoring spread out for the Broncos, too. Fielder leading them with just 5 points. So it's been a balanced attack for Boise State. Wyoming trying to end this scoring drought of 4.5 minutes. Rojas tries a three, in and out, rebound to Fielder.
Hey, Ryan, I tell you what, we've been talking about the guards at the Cowboys, instead of just, on the kitch and the kickouts, shooting that ball. It's a little bit harder. The length on Boise State is giving them more of a pause on letting that thing fly, thinking that they may not be able to get that shot, and they can just put it on the deck and get one more. It's not really materializing for really good shots right now.
See Fielder, 6'11" out there. Aarons, 6'10". Meadows, 6'7". Boise State definitely with a lot of size. But Wyoming now in the bonus, 17th foul on the Broncos. So looking to get on the board to end this scoring drought. There's no better way to be in the game than through membership in the Cowboy Joe Club. For as little as $100 per year, you can make a direct impact on Wyoming student athletes while earning top-tier benefits. Visit cowboyjoeclub.com to learn more and join today. Pokes at the free throw line, just 2 of 5 tonight, and Andrews extends the run for Boise State. It's now 16-0.
The Cowboys with missed opportunities at the foul line. When they get there, boy, they have got to convert. They're 2 of 5, actually 2 of 6, because that was the front end of a 1-on-1, but they got to do a better job.
Pokes will take anything at this point. 5 minutes and counting without any points on the board, and that will stay with Wyoming as they went off the foot of Carmichael. Steve, you know, obviously Wyoming missing Naz Meyer, huge piece, freshman averaging 13.7 points per game. That ranks 11th in the conference. But as a team, Wyoming's third in the league in scoring entering tonight, 81 points per game. Just haven't, you know, really seen that offensive.
Ball on the floor is white ball. It's being challenged.
You see Coach Rice wants the officials to take another look at this one, and we'll do the same.
Well, Carmichael's right. He was looking over at the bench and telling him to challenge it because he said, I didn't touch it. And it does look like it goes off Leland. No, it goes off Gavin Gorge's foot right there. I think that's, you know, this one's going to be overturned here. Cowboys got, 2 minutes, 41 seconds here left in this first half, and they've got to stop this momentum. They've got to find a way to score. They're just on a drought right now, and it doesn't seem like anything's falling. Nothing from the three-point line, nothing from the foul line. The only thing that they're consistently hitting, it seems like, is Leland Walker in the mid-range.
And we should mention Naz Meyer out. He's in concussion protocol, and just been a huge piece for this team. He scored in double figures 9 out of the last 10 games. 3-time Mountain West Freshman of the Week.
The call on the floor is being reversed. Blue ball.
As you hear, that will go to Boise State, so a good challenge from Coach Rice. Wyoming down 3 contributors. Naz Meyer, the most notable, but Belich, one of 2 returning scorers from last year's team. He's a big glue guy. And when you add it all up, Steve, that's about 24 points per game Wyoming's missing tonight.
It's hard to, you get into your rotation, at this point in the season, and you know who's going to score, who needs to score on a night in and night out basis for you to win ball games. And when you take out 23, plus points a game, you just don't feel that, immediately. It takes games and games to fill that rotation, and sometimes you never do fill it.
Can't wait to see the replay on that one, because that was an unbelievable just kind of tip shot by Fielder to extend it to an 18-0 run, and Gores finally puts an end to it for Wyoming.
And finally some inside, production in there for the Cowboys.
Buchanan, open 3, knocks it down.
That is one thing you cannot do. Your hands are down. I'm telling you, they're going to knock down the 3. This is a very good three-point shooting team. They're not streaky. They are very consistent. Gavin Gores closed out short. His hands were down. And, the Broncos will make you pay on that if you give them that shot.
Rojas steps from the free throw line. No good. Buchanan with the board. Buchanan downhill, draws the contact, hoop, and the harm.
Boy, everything is going the Broncos' way right now. I tell you, the Cowboys are really struggling offensively, and it just seems like Boise's kicking in on all cylinders.
It's now a 23-2 run for Boise State, and Buchanan coming alive a little bit with 5 points in a row for the Broncos. He's just one of 5 players in the conference with 200 points, 75 rebounds, 25 assists. Naz Meyer is actually one of those 5. But Buchanan, a huge piece for this Broncos squad. Largest lead of the night for Boise State at 19. Herrico in the corner, off the mark. Carmichael with the rebound. Meadow draws the contact, gets the bucket. They'll say that's good, and Boise State trying to get another 3-point play.
Cowboys 0 for 9 in this first half from the three-point line. That's not going to win you a lot of ball games. You're going to have to really step up and knock those down. But Meadows, a talented player, second leading scorer on this team, and just finding ways to get that ball in the basket. There's a chance to go to the line and get the three-point play.
Knocks it down. Boise State, perfect 4 of 4 at the free throw line. And Steve, pretty good crowd on hand tonight, but you can just kind of feel the energy being sucked out of the arena so far.
Yeah, Cowboys have just been stuck on 14. They were stuck on 14 for so long. It really just took the energy out of the gym. I tell you, I think a lot of people early on, there was a lot of energy, and that zone was really giving Boise some troubles. And boy, it seems like once they got a couple good, easy buckets out of that, boy, it really just started to snowball against the Cowboys.
Wyoming with 6 turnovers in the last 7 minutes and change. And just looking for any sort of momentum heading into halftime. 9-0 run for Boise State, but that extends. It's a 27-2 run over the last 7 minutes. Walker, 6 points on 7 field goal attempts. The lone bright spot offensively for Wyoming tonight. It's out to Dennis. Wyoming won't be able to get a 2-for-1. Deep 2 from Walker. That's good. Tough shot.
A tough shot to finally break the ice from the three-point line for the Cowboys.
Might take a look at it, but they do rule it a 2. So it's a 20-point game. Boise State looking to extend the lead. Good hands from Walker.
An offensive foul.
Andrews kicks it out. Buchanan, 3, no good. Tip try off the mark. And that will do it for the first half. It is all Boise State in the second part of that first half. 27-4 run for the Broncos. We'll be back after this. Welcome back on the Mountain West Network in Laramie and inside the Arena-Auditorium. Wyoming down by 20 at halftime. And Steve, I think one of the most interesting stats from that first half, you see the score, you think, well, Boise State probably start to finish was in control. Wyoming actually led for 9 minutes of the first half, but really the second 10 minutes of the half, Boise State was just in cruise control.
Well, they settled in, I tell you, and I think their record 10-8 is really not indicative of how good this ball club is. You know, they went on the road to St. Mary's, NC State, at Butler, at Southern Cal. This team is very battle-tested against some really good teams, and, you know, they didn't walk away with all those wins on those road games, but this record of a 10-8, you know, is not indicative of how good this ball club is.
And Boise State 10-0 when leading at halftime. Comfortable cushion. I'm sure Coach Rice wants to keep foot on the pedal, though, heading into the second half. But let's take a look at how we got here. Some of the highlights from the first half. Kind of a slow start offensively in those first 7 minutes. Wyoming held Boise State to 3 points. From the first 6.5 minutes of play, you see Gores provided a big spark early for Wyoming. And then it was just kind of Boise State getting some action from a lot of guys because no one is in double figures despite the Broncos having 38 points.
Yeah, and it wasn't a pretty outside shooting first half. You know, both teams were at 1 of 11 from the three-point line at one point. But really, this is how the Broncos broke this game open, you know, at least in the first half, is that ceiling inside, really high percentage shots, you know, either on the rim or around the rim.
And Boise State outscoring Wyoming on the fast break, 11-2, and outscoring the Cowboys from the bench 11-2 as well.
Yeah, three ball just started to fall. And look, Gores closes out short. His hands are down, and this is too good of a shooting team to be able to do that. And the Cowboys got to make sure that don't have those mental mistakes in the second half if they're going to work their way back into the ball game.
Boise State actually started the month on a 4-game losing streak. Got a win, though, at home Friday against Colorado State. You can see them riding that momentum into this contest. As we take a look at stats from the first half, anything jump out to you?
Well, the 4 turnovers. One of the keys of the game we said is Boise's got to take care of the ball. 4 turnovers against this Cowboy pressure is great. You know, it just gives them more shots. And that's been a big key for me as I see this. They've taken care of the ball, gotten more shots, and really high percentage shots, especially the last 12 minutes of the first half.
Javen Buchanan leading the Broncos with 8 points. We'll take one more quick break and then be back with second half action on the Mountain West Network. Welcome back inside the Arena-Auditorium, getting close to tipping off action for second half. Boise State with a 20-point lead over Wyoming. Let's take a look at our connection of the half presented by Union Wireless, and it is one of the 2 dunks from the freshman Gavin Gores. Rojas with the pass, Gores with the finish.
High percentage shot, Ryan. You know what? Just the Cowboys haven't had enough of those high percentage shots in the first half. They're going to have to find a lot more in the second half, and they're going to have to really find a way to guard better in this second half and try to hold this high-scoring Broncos team down so that they can catch up.
If you're Coach Wicks, Steve, what do you tell your group at halftime?
I think, honestly, you got to come out and you got to just find a shot. Getting really late in the shot clock, and then I don't think the shots are nearly as good. I think that mid-range, Leland found a lot of good, shots in that mid-range, and I think, Bennett's got to do that. You know what? Rojas has got to do that. Find those shots and just live with it. Hey, go out and play. But you're down 20 right now. You got to find a way to battle your way back into it.
Mentioned it earlier, last time Wyoming was at home, lost by 17 to San Diego State. Coach Wicks had some strong words in the post-game presser. He said, we have no heart right now. When we're met with force, when we're met with toughness, when we're met with a big challenge, we lack grit, we lack toughness, we lack heart. Those are pretty strong words, and we'll see if he had a similar message to his group at halftime and how the Pokes respond. Wyoming down Naz Meyer, Jared Harris, Mattia Belich. Combined, it's almost 24 points per game, and Naz Meyer been a big spark as a freshman for Wyoming. 13.7 points per game entering tonight, and you can really see the impact that he has, without him on the floor.
Yeah, and I think the rotation too, losing Harris, losing Belich, you're keeping guys on the court a little bit longer, and the Cowboys like to play a little bit faster, and so you're gonna, play a little bit longer on the court. You're gonna be a little bit more gassed.
So Mark Sadi gets the first 3 of the night for the Pokes.
I'll tell you, the Cowboys back in this zone right here, but I think you'll see that Boise attacks it a little differently.
Cannon's 3 off the mark. And the 3 from Sadi, the first one for the Pokes in over 40 minutes of game action, as Gores can't finish at the rim. Pretty remarkable stat, though, especially in today's era of college basketball, of how many threes a team will take.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you, I've heard of Cold, going through a drought from the three-point line, but that is a serious drought.
20 minutes at Fresno, 20 minutes tonight. And Sadi gets the Cowboys off to a good start. Buchanan almost got the steal. Walker goes right at Fielder, but can't finish. Buchanan wide open, no one within sight. Can't knock it down, though.
Cowboys are getting a little fortunate here with giving up 2 wide open threes to the Broncos.
Rojas, good take, and the finish. So Boise State ended the half on a 27-4 run. Wyoming slowly but surely trying to chip away at that lead, starting the second half on a 5-0 run.
Rojas was did just what I was talking about in that first half. I think sometimes you can really complicate, and get too many people in there that just, it messes up your lanes to get to the rim. And I don't think, guard for guard on that perimeter that Boise can guard, Wyoming's guards. If they just clear out and just take them one-on-one, I don't think, Buchanan could stay in front of Rojas right here. If we just get some of the defenders out of the way and just give them a straight lane.
Foul is called on Gores, working for positioning. That's a tough break for Wyoming. Puts a little bit of a halt to their momentum.
Yeah, those are momentum killers right there. You've got to get shots on the rim, and you've got to convert. Just cut this down to 15 and had a chance to take it to 12. That would have been huge for the Cowboys.
Andrews, grad transfer from UCLA, running the point for Boise State. Carmichael into Buchanan, spin move, can't finish. Fielder comes away with the offensive board. Meadow working baseline. Andrews from the wing, off the mark. And a foul is going to be called on Wyoming. Coach Wick's not happy with that call.
No, he's not. I tell you, it looked like Leland Walker was holding off an offensive player that's trying to get to the rim. It looked like he was blocking out, but I had a blocked view of that. I didn't get to see the whole thing. No, it looked like he was on the outside. That was a good call.
So new life for Boise State. Still looking for their first points of the second half. Carmichael off the mark. Walker, 3-ball, that's good.
The Cowboys have woken up. Sadi broke the ice, and now they're woke up from the 3-point line.
8-0 run for Wyoming. And after going 0 of 9 from behind the arc in the first half, Pokes start 2 of 2 from behind the arc this half. Eight on the clock for the Broncos. Fielder, turnaround, deep 2, knocks it down.
He was in the key there for an awfully long time. I thought he was going to get a 3-second call.
Cowboy fans still very much into this one. Walker, strong take, the left-hand finish.
Walker's woke up a little bit.
Andrews, though, coast to coast, kind of uncontested at the rim.
You got to stop that ball. You got to stop the ball. That ball scores, and nobody stepped up and stopped that ball.
Bennett from the wing off the mark. Out of bounds to Boise State. First media timeout of the second half. The Pokes have some life. We'll be back on the Mountain West Network. College basketball on the Mountain West Network is presented by your Rocky Mountain Ford dealers, built for tough, and by Union Wireless, real people, always. Wyoming off to a good start here in the second half, trailed by 20 at halftime. They've cut that deficit to 14. Let's take a look around the Mountain West. Steve, we've talked a little bit about how deep this conference is. You can see at the top 4 teams in the top 75 of the net, but really top to bottom, you have Colorado State, Wyoming, Boise State, all 2 and 5. And, on any given night, any team might be able to beat anyone.
Oh, I think it's a dangerous league. It's really hard travel in this league. You compound it with really good teams, and hard travel, and yeah, you have to bring it every single night, and you know, that's just kind of the Mountain West and what it's been, you know, in its entirety.
The football note, gotta love the big man touchdown from Frank Crum as the Denver Broncos are in the AFC Championship game. Boise State Broncos here with a 14-point lead. Fielder with a strong take, draws the contact, I believe before the shot.
Just goes to show you how good Fielder is. I thought Saxton did exactly what they had talked about doing to him, is trying to make his catches off the block, then playing squared up. But Fielder just is so smart, so talented. He just has a way and a feel just to find a way to get close enough to the rim, and he's really skilled. And you know, he just got a step on Saxton, and Saxton fouled him.
Aarons to Nato from 15 feet off the mark. Fielder with another board. Corner three off the mark. Meadow board and the tip in.
Fielder is just throwing guys around inside. 2 missed fouls down low on him. He just bowled over Saxton, and then he threw, I couldn't see who it was. I think maybe it was Harricow out of the way for that offensive rebound.
6 offensive boards for the Broncos. Harricow in the lane, spin move, gets the bucket, and he'll go the line.
He had enough fakes in there. It looked like a town team, you know, basketball game right there. He spun back again, and I tell you, I think ours just got tired of trying to guard him.
Harricow having a little bit bigger role here recently with some of these guys out for Wyoming. Started 4 of the last 5 entering tonight. And can't complete the 3-point play, but a great rebound from Bennett. Scores with the great pass to Dennis, who lays it off the glass for 2. So a 20-point deficit is down to 12. Wyoming with a little bit of a soft press. Boise State splits it and takes advantage. Corner 3 for Meadow.
They need a big bucket. Boy, Meadows delivers. He is second leading scorer, and he can score inside, outside. So strong with that ball. Can finish through contact. Knock down that 3. That was a big bucket for the Broncos.
25th 3 of the year for Meadow. Dennis, good position, but can't finish. And Carmichael comes down with it. Fielder pumps Gores, drives, throws it down with 2 hands.
A jump second, Gavin. That's the second time that he's gotten you on that tonight.
Bennett drives, draws the contact. Boise State splitting the press from Wyoming, and then Fielder, the junior, working on the freshman. See the contact here. Even though the ball didn't really go up, they're going to call it a shooting foul.
Well, Ryan, that's that, you know, that continuation side of the game right now. They're allowing that, you know, continuation after that foul, more like the NBA game, and that's kind of where he was engaged in going into his shot. That's why they gave him two shots.
Pokes just 3 of 7 at the free throw line, but gets that one to go, and Wyoming still just trying to chip away at this lead. Much better start offensively in the second half. 16 points in 7 minutes compared to 18 points in the first 20. Good defense on Parolin. 6 on the timer for Boise State. Nato loses control out of bounds, but they're going to say it was tipped by a Cowboy and will stay with Boise State. Let's take another look.
Looks like he got fouled right there. Looked like Leland Walker. It was kind of like combat, like we heard in the national championship game last night. You know, with the wideouts and the cornerbacks, Leland Walker and Nato were just kind of battling back and forth, and he probably fouled each other a couple of times.
They're going to take a look at this. And only 3 on the shot clock, but I think Coach Wicks might be able to have this one overturned.
The call on the floor is blue ball. It's being challenged.
You can't challenge the no call on the foul, so they're just looking at possession. And let's take one more look at it. Walker gets his hands in there, but Nato, I think it is off him last.
Boy, that's too close. I tell you, I can't see it, but I tell you, Nato got fouled by Bennett and Walker on that play. And then he fouled Walker back. I couldn't tell you who that came off, but that's too close.
I think the official might have thought it went off Saudi's body, but it never got him.
I think they missed everything else on that play, but they may have the possession right. And to be fair to the officials, this game's moving really quick. There's a lot of action going on, and that's not the easiest thing to see, as there's bodies stepping in front of you.
See, they're still taking a look at it. Kind of a built-in timeout for both of these teams, and you know, I think that's Wyoming ball. I think that's off Nato.
I don't know if there's enough there to overturn it. You'd have to. It wasn't like the earlier, call that Boise, asked for a review on.
The call is being reversed. White ball.
Stand corrected. Ryan, you are right. Stand corrected.
So a good challenge from Coach Wicks. Get kind of a free timeout out of it before the media and see what he draws up here for the Cowboys.
Folks have a chance to get this down to 12 here. This would be really big for the Cowboys.
Quiet second half for Gores so far. Walker leading the Pokes with 13. Trying to add 3 more off the mark. Rebound to Boise State, and a timeout is called before his momentum was going out. Excuse me, they're going to call a foul. Thought he called for a timeout, but they're going to say a foul was called as Gores kind of swabbed at the ball, but accidentally got his face.
That's number 3 on Gores, but probably won't stay on that bench too long.
Good hands from Wyoming. Boise State able to maintain possession, though. Nee thought about it. Off to Aarons, and he's hit in the face again. Might need to put a face shield on. That'll send us to a timeout. The lead is 15 for the Broncos. Wyoming chipping away. We'll be back on the Mountain West Network. Back inside the AA, Boise State with a 15-point lead over Wyoming alongside Steve Gosart. I'm Ryan Mix, and Boise State hasn't been the best half for them offensively in the second half, Steve. And what does Coach Rice need to do to put this game away for the Broncos?
Well, they've had their open looks from the three-point line, and this really good three-point shooting team. He's going to knock them down. The Cowboys have been really fortunate. They've missed some open shots and have been able to cut into this ball, or into this lead a little bit. But you know, the quality of shots that they're getting compared to the, you know, the shots that the Cowboys are getting, it's a totally different story. And I think that's why, you know, the Pokes find themselves down 15 points.
Harlan working on Saxon. Down to Buchanan. Testing the freshman Sadi. Spin move, shot no good. And they say shot clock violation. Good defense there from Sadi.
Yeah, Sadi braced himself, took that contact, held his ground, and I don't think Buchanan was, I think Buchanan was surprised he was still around after that, after he dropped the shoulder and hit him.
And, you know, it's one thing to see it on the screen, another in person. Buchanan's a big guy, and you have 4+ years in a strength and conditioning program. As Nato gets a steal and throws it down.
Careless pass there by Bennett. That is some stuff the Cowboys can't do. They got to try to find a way to maybe get this, you know, if they're lucky, get it down to single digits, you know, here pretty soon.
Saxon to Rojas, works it around to Walker, knocks it down. You like this soft press Wyoming's running?
Yeah, burn some time off the, you know, off the shot clock in the half court, and I think, you know, you give Boise State less time in the half court, you know, it's better off. It's better for your defense.
Foul is called on Wyoming. That'll be the 6th team foul, 2nd personnel foul for Walker as we take a look at the 3 from Walker. 3 threes for the Pokes this half.
Good extra pass there by Rojas. Cowboys back into man-to-man. They've been sticking with that zone, kind of giving a different look for the Broncos.
Nice finish from Meadow.
Did you see how strong he was? I tell you, Perico went up with him, or Rojas, I couldn't quite tell who it was, but he just, you know, the contact just cleared the defense away.
And Walker draws the contact. He'll go to the line.
You know, you talk about how important the weight room is. Case in point right there. Meadows just, you know, big, strong guy, you know, straight line to the basket, took contact, and it didn't knock him off his line. And instead, he goes through the defender for the finish.
Wyoming, you know, one more foul. They put Boise State in the bonus, so Cowboys have to be mindful of that too. Boise State with 5 team fouls. Boise State, although they don't have the record they're used to, they do have 3 quad 1 and quad 2 wins. Tonight would be a quad 2 win for them. And, you know, still a lot of basketball left to be played. No reason to think why the Broncos can't go on a run and put together a good resume heading into March. Corner 3 is good from Meadow, and that's a big one.
Boy, I tell you, he's really woke up the second half. Knocked down 2 corner 3s over there and some great finishes around the bucket.
Meadow now with 16 on only 7 field goal attempts. Rojas to Haruko off the mark. Andrews with the board. Fielder thought about the 3, instead hands it off to Andrews. Back to Fielder. Corner three for Meadow. Back-to-back threes, and the Broncos are back up with a 20-point lead.
That's the type of offense that you get used to seeing out of Boise State. High ball screen, either hitting the roll, hitting the out. You got to pick your poison on this. You're either going to take the roll there or you're going to give up an open three.
Back-to-back threes for Meadow, and Boise State is up 20. Back inside the AA, Boise State with a 20-point lead and really in control. Wyoming really missing Nosmeyer tonight, Steve.
Yeah, and I tell you, 39 points, basically there's only 8 minutes left to go in this ball game. It's about, if we look at the end of this ball game, I bet you we look back and it's pretty close to the average points that those three on the bench would have produced in this ball game. I bet you that's the difference between these two teams tonight. But Nas would really help out against, this Boise team because of the length. He's 6'7". He matches up really, really well with these guards, and I think he'd have a really good ability to get into the paint and knock down some mid-range shots to finish at the rim, which the Cowboys are really struggling to do tonight.
Meyer out tonight in concussion protocol. Second leading scorer on the team. Walker gets the lay-in to go. He's leading the way with 20. You feel like Walker's going to get his. It's just a matter of who else can step up.
Yeah. Bennett really needs to step up here. He's only got 2 points for the night.
Free ball off the mark. Wyoming 7-0 when Bennett scores in double figures. Next factor for this team. Rojas to Gores. Back to Walker, and Wyoming will reset. Gets around the defenders, drives in the lane, draws the contact, and he'll go to the line. Working hard out there.
Oh, he is. He's spending a lot of energy at both ends of the court here.
Take a quick timeout and be right back. Broncos have been efficient from behind the arc. 5 different players have hit a three for Boise State tonight, and on the season, 4 players have made 20-plus threes. Gotta love that if you're Coach Rice.
Oh, absolutely. And Andrew Meadows, 3 for 4 from the three-point line. 19 points on the game. He's really stepped up. I mean, between both teams, there's not been some great three-point shooting tonight, but Andrew Meadows has been really special.
Broncos have knocked down 7 triples and overall shooting 48% from the field after a very slow start offensively. 3 points in the first 6.5 minutes of this game. Boise State, they've actually scored 100 3 times this year, but their season average, say this in quotation marks, is only 77 points per game.
Yeah. Speaking of scoring, Leland Walker has done his part tonight, 22 points. Just he needs a little bit of help. Somebody else has got to step up and chip a few more in if they're going to get back into this ball game.
Carmichael, strong take, rebound to Saxon. Walker with 22 to lead all scorers. Drawing a lot of attention on defense. Almost triple team there. Gets it out to Rojas. Free ball off the mark. Rebound to Buchanan. Andrews stops, pops, knocks it down. And he will try to get his number, a 4-point play.
Just Cowboys were trying to get matched up in man-to-man, and there just was not enough communication out there, and Saxton was late to understanding and where the matchups were, and not a good decision fouling a 3-point shooter.
Andrews, the transfer from UCLA, I think really kind of unheralded guy on this team, but just the impact he makes. 62 assists, 7th in the conference. He is averaging in double figures, but NCAA tournament experience, and it's going to be a very valuable guy for Boise State to have heading into the second half of conference play.
Just a strong point guard down there. You can see him battling with Sadi and battling him to a draw. Sadi has some size on him, but Andrews wasn't giving up an inch.
He had 8 assists in UCLA's first-round NCAA tournament win over Utah State last year. Started 29 games as a junior, 32 starts as a sophomore. And Steve, you don't see it all that often. You typically see, a guy might go from the Mountain West to Big 10, Big 12, but in this case, it's Big 10 to Mountain West.
Yeah, and that's the portal nowadays. Kids, have the opportunity to move free at will and find an opportunity to play. And maybe, recruiting's not a perfect science. And sometimes, a level that a kid gets recruited to, maybe not the level that they should be playing and going to be successful at. And maybe it's not the system that they're going to be successful in. And tell you, he's found one here where he's been, very productive for the Broncos.
Carmichael knocks down the corner 3 and could be a dagger. Boise State now with a 21-point lead. Rojas drives in the lane, can't get it to go. Carmichael with the rebound. Andrews will run some clock. Fielder, 6 on the shot clock. Backs down Sadi, draws the contact, and he'll go to the line.
Boy, Fielder does such a great job of getting the defense to leave their feet. He did it with Gores a couple times throughout the game, and right there's just real patience and enough shot fakes here that gets, Sadi to leave his feet a little bit, and then he steps right on through, and a smart offensive player.
Fielder, a hometown kid, junior from Boise. Knocks down the first free throw. Made program history earlier this year. Boise State played in the Maui Invite, and against Chaminade, he had 27 points, 14 rebounds, shot better than 90%, and he became the first player in conference history to do that, to score 25 plus, grab 14 or more rebounds, and shoot 90% or better from the field in a single game. And still one more year of eligibility for the Broncos. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for Wyoming. Back at home Saturday against San Jose State. And then a tough one, going on the road to Utah State and kind of switching back and forth with the Rams and the Aggies. And for Boise State, they will be back at home against Air Force, and we've talked about the Mountain West so deep, but that upcoming schedule feels like a little bit of a window of opportunity for the Broncos to go on a win streak.
Yeah, they've had a you know, a real tough schedule, and certainly like we had talked about earlier in the broadcast, you know, 4 out of 5, you know, they had dropped up until this point, but you know, this is a team that can put some wins together and put a 4-game win streak, you know, together as well. I mean, this is a talented ball club, definitely better than what their record indicates. And, you know, in talking with Coach Rice earlier, you know, before the game, he said that their best basketball was still to come. He felt like there was enough things that happened, you know, up to this point in the season that has really kept them from, you know, playing really consistently their best basketball. And right now, they've worked through some things tonight and have found a, you know, a way to be really, really good offensively.
Dennis drives, kicks it out to Hariko, who knocks down the triple.
You know, that's a big bucket for in the corner there, but it's probably just a little bit too late for the Cowboys. They needed a few more of those in the first 30 minutes of this ball game.
Carmichael tries a 3 off the mark. Rebound to Gores. Walker drives the floater, gets the roll. Five straight points for the Pokes. Not going to go down without a fight.
Well, there was one thing I've really enjoyed about watching the Cowboys this year. These guys play really hard. They play together. They don't give up. You know, they stay in this ball games. And, you know, it's just sometimes the length, I think, you know, really affects them because they're not a really big ball club. And I think you're looking at a good-sized Boise State team. You know, San Diego State did the same thing. You know what, Grand Canyon, you know, is a really, you know, long and big team, especially on the perimeter, and that gives the Cowboys a little bit of fits.
Hariko with the nice spin move gets the shot to fall. Fielder in particular, 6'11", and the athleticism that he brings.
So skilled, really knows how to play. Very talented player.
Thought about the 3 instead, kicks it out to Andrews, who knocks it down. Fielder's just one of 3 players in the conference to average 13 or more and shoot 50% or better, and you've got the vision to make passes like that and the size to get rebounds. That's a complete basketball player right there.
Yeah. Throwing another shot fake on here with Gores and still gets him up in the air after he's already got him 2 times before.
Back in Laramie, Tuesday night hoops. Wyoming going to have their first L of the year on a Tuesday. Cowboys were 4-0 on Tuesday. Entering tonight, Boise State in control in big part thanks to this guy, Drew Fielder. He is our Wild Lotto play of the game with the pump fake on Gores, gets him to bite and makes him pay with the finish.
Covered some ground with those 2 steps, didn't he? I tell you, that's a big, long, athletic dude, and very, very skilled. And you know, between Fielder and Meadows, you know, the top 2, you know, scorers, they delivered tonight in a big way.
Fielder with 15 points, 8 boards. Meadow with 19 points, and combined, 2 of them 13 of 20 from the field.
If you're going to win ball games in the Mountain West, you need to have all of your best players on the court. You know, this is too talented of a league, you know, to have 23-plus points sitting on the bench. And, you know, arguably maybe the freshman of the year in this league, you know, on the bench You're just not going to win, many ball games like that. You're really fighting an uphill battle, and if you're not shooting the heck out of the ball, it's just not going to happen. And I think that's what we saw tonight.
Walker put together a great game, 26 points on 9 of 15 shooting, but he's got 9 of their 19 made field goals. See the Cowboys still fighting here. Create the turnover. Saxon hands it off to Bennett, being doubled. Drives baseline. Dennis open in the corner. Too strong. Rebound to the Broncos. Aarons tries a corner 3. Too strong. Tapped out. Dennis comes away with it. Works on Nato and gets the lay-in to go.
When Dennis is not hitting from the outside, I tell you, that tells me it's a cold shooting night for the Cowboys. He's had 2 good looks down in the corners and just couldn't get one of those to fall tonight, but still playing hard. I love it.
Dennis doing it on the offensive end, and then on the defensive end, just creating the steal. Turnover to Wyoming. See if they can get a quick shot up here. Bennett drives, draws contact, no call, and goes right back to the Broncos.
Now you got the ball in the right hands, in Andrews' hands, and I think that's where Coach Rice wants to have it.
Strong take, and he'll go to the line. So players not named Leland Walker for Wyoming, add it all up, 11 of 32 from the field. And, at that clip, it's just going to be tough to beat a team like Boise State.
You got to play, you got to be hitting in all cylinders. You're going to have to really guard. You're going to have to knock down some shots. And it just wasn't there tonight for the Cowboys. There's too many minutes, there's too many points sitting on the bench, and not enough shots fell. They had some good looks. They just couldn't convert them. But I think in some regards, I think Boise's length, affects that. It affects your shooting percentage when you have just a little bit bigger players out there.
Andrews now with 14 points. Bennett tries a 3, knocks it down. Wyoming with 5 made threes in the second half. But that first half output of 18, just too big of a hole to dig out of. Nice move by Meadow. Lays it off the glass, and he's up to a team-high 21 points now.
Nice spin, recognition, just seeing the whole court. Just saw a lane there. I thought he was going to pass, but just saw that lane and just finished it.
Walker still playing hard until the final whistle.
Ryan, you said it. That first half was a killer for the Cowboys. Dug himself a hole. It just puts too much pressure on that last 20 minutes of the ball game to dig yourself out. It's just not enough time, especially against a really good team. And so you just can't go on those droughts. I can't remember what you said. It was his 8-minute plus, without a bucket. And that just allowed not only, for Boise to get back into the ball game, but to extend this lead. you always play better with the lead. You know what? The rim gets bigger. You know, you always, can be a little bit more selective. And it seems like, the ball finds the bottom of the net when you have the lead.
Yeah, it was a 27-4 run for Boise State. And the parity we have in the conference, you just don't really see those types of runs very often. Walker with 28 points, approaching a season high. Dennis gets his hands on it, lays it in.
Nito's going to probably hear it. As he goes up into the locker room, I saw Coach Rice talking to him about taking care of the ball. He had 2 quick turnovers when he was in the game, and they brought him back in, and he turned it right back over. I think in those situations, you're trapped, you're way down on the baseline, you don't have anything. Just throw it off the defender's leg. Don't throw an iffy pass that, is going to get tipped or stolen. Just throw it off the leg and reset.
And timeout called for Boise State. So the Broncos will win their second game in a row. Be back in Boise this weekend to take on Air Force. And Boise State entering tonight with a net ranking of 83. This will be a quad 2 victory for them. Their 4th quad 1, quad 2 win of the year. And the way, this program is and the experience they have, and especially with the head coach as well, Coach Rice, don't be surprised if this team slowly but surely climbs their way up the standings in the second half of the season.
No, it wouldn't surprise me one bit, especially the way they shoot the ball as a team. They've got 2 really good scorers. They've got a good solid point guard. Actually, they have more than 2 really good scorers. Buchanan's a very good scorer, but you've got a bunch of length, and you've got really good complement players out there, to what they have as their main players.
Boise State continues their dominance in this series. It'll now be 15 out of 16 dating back to 2016 against Wyoming. Coach Rice has had a lot of trips to Laramie in the AA, and for the foreseeable future, this will be the last one.
This will be the last one as a conference member of the Mountain West Conference.
It'll be interesting to see in non-con play if any of these Mountain West teams that are in the league right now but won't be in the league next year will end up playing each other. Walker gets to 30. Carmichael draws the foul. Career high for Walker, 30 points, 10 of 16 shooting. Just not enough from the supporting cast tonight.
No, very efficient with the ball tonight, and I just think back how many times I saw him shoot that floater over, Fielder, and to get some real good buckets for the Cowboys in the first half and early in the second half. But no, he played a wonderful ball game tonight. Just needed a little bit of help. It's a team game, and you got to have more team scoring.
No one else in double figures for the Pokes. And Walker can't get it to go. Boise State will be able to dribble it out. So a slow start the first 7 minutes for the Broncos, but a strong finish as Boise State will leave Laramie with a victory, a 16-point win for the Broncos, and continue their recent dominance over the Cowboys.
Yeah, I tell you, off to a real slow start tonight. It took them a little while to figure out that zone that the Cowboys were playing, but once they did, where they really settled in, got a lot of confidence, and you know, you're not going to really shut out a really good ball club, a really good offensive ball club like the Broncos. And it just took them a little while, but they found the Cowboys out and started knocking down shots.
Andrew Meadow is our Cheyenne Regional Medical Center player of the game, leading the Broncos with 21 points and doing it on 80% shooting. Pretty impressive night for Meadow.
Boy, inside, outside, boy, he really delivered. What a second half he had. I didn't think, first half had a few here or there, but that second half he really woke up and delivered.
Meadow is third in the conference in field goal percentage, and that number will only go up after tonight, shooting 80% from the floor.
He shot the ball well tonight.
You take a look at the final stats from this one, and what you don't see on the graphic is the big run that Boise State had to really put this one away. It was a 27-4 run, stretching their lead to 20 at intermission.
Yeah. And Cowboys, we said it too many times tonight already, but 23 points, on the bench tonight. They lose by 16. Would have made a world of a difference if they could have kept, a little bit closer. And, it's a different ball game if you keep it closer. A few more shots go down. You don't have to press the action just as much. So, great second half, but they dug themselves too big of a hole in the first half.
So Boise State improves to 11-8, 3-5 in the conference, while Wyoming drops to 11-8, 2-6 in the conference. A big win for the Broncos, and we will have a broadcast back here at the Arena-Auditorium tomorrow night as the Cowgirls will take on Utah State. For my broadcast partner, Steve Gosar, I'm Ryan Mix saying good evening from Laramie, where the final score is Boise State 81, Wyoming 65. For more live Wyoming athletic broadcasts, visit GoWyo.com. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Mountain West Network.